Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Off the Rails podcast. I hope you are doing well today. Like we like to say, wherever you are, whatever time it is, whatever's going on in your world, praying that this finds you well. I am one of your hosts. I am Kate Mackey.
And I am Kellie Whitlock.
Hey, and here we are today, back with you again. And as always, we just like to really thank you for taking the time to push play on this episode, whether it's your first time listening to us or you have listened to us a few times. We're just grateful and pray that you are blessed and that hopefully maybe this episode will bless you a little bit too. But we shall see. So anyway, how are you doing today, Kellie?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
I'm always nervous when it's my turn to do the confession.
Oh, well, don't be nervous. Don't be nervous, Kellie.
Okay.
But before we started, we were having a little giggle fits.
We were
trying to compose ourselves before we
oh my goodness
headed into.
And I'm thinking it's because this episode is a rather serious episode.
Yeah, it is a rather serious
episode. And so we
episode.
spent a long time kind of getting it prepped, and then we just, whew.
Yeah, yes. Plus, it's also a beautiful day, so that kind of lends itself to, at least from, I don't know, I like it because it's cooler today and anxious for the fall weather and football season.
Yeah, now you're talking.
Oh, hey, we have I know that this episode's going to come out after the fact, but my partner across the table has a thing.
A big thing
For a team called the Green Bay Packers.
I got the earrings, I got the socks, I got the jerseys, I got the shirts, I got it all.
Yeah, she does. She does. I'm waiting for the tattoo. But hey, both of our teams open up this Sunday facing off against one another.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be good.
Bring it on, Wisconsin. Bring it on.
I'll pray for you when you lose.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
That was not the proper use of prayer, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
What's a Packer?
God's gift.
You did not go there.
And there's a new Packer joining the team. Hey, Micah. So
anyway, so yes, so we're excited for the fall, excited for football, and okay, let's do it.
Okay,
confession, girl, bring it on.
All right, so here's my confession. So I've recently been spending a lot of time with my parents.
In Wisconsin.
Ugh. And by the way, they do know gracious. Packer season is upon us. You can't go anywhere, I'm telling you.
Right.
So stories come out when you're hanging around with your parents. Some stories you don't really want to relive, and some stories are really hilarious.
See, that's why you need to be thankful you don't have siblings. The stories that come out
true.
In that regard, goodness gracious.
That's true.
Yeah, but anyway, sorry.
So here's my story, and it's not from a current year. It's from when I was in the third grade and I'll give a shout out. It's Kailua, out in Kailua, St. Anthony's School, Catholic school, and myself and my cousins attended there. Okay. And I was born and bred Presbyterian, but I went to Catholic school because the education and the quality of the education was really good. That's so I just struggled with Sister Marianne, rest in peace. I just struggled with her. She was just
Did
hard
she struggle with you?
She did struggle with me.
Good. So it was mutual.
Oh, yeah.
A mutual relationship.
The kind of the uniforms, I did not go for the uniforms, so I got the highest wedge shoes, and I was already the tallest person in the class. And then my arms are nice and long, so it just so happens the length of your skirt had to be to the tip of your middle finger. Yeah. And they would hold you up in class if you were on the line, which I frequently was. And my parents never knew because we drove carpool. So either they were busy getting in the car or I was running off. And I waited till I got to school. I went to the bathroom and I hiked up my skirt and pinned it up just where.
So that's where your long arms did not come into, were not helpful.
Because yes and no.
Okay.
No. So anyway, so this is me in the third grade. So in Catholic school, at least at that time, I don't know how it is now, so we're talking a long time ago, like the 70s. You went to Mass every single day before school.
Yep.
So all good. It happened. You go to Mass, everybody's in there.
Yeah, I think that's normal.
I think
today.
so too.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of respect for Catholic liturgy because I literally lived it for 5 years.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So here was my heartache every time, and this was not the case like where you can come up for a blessing. That had not yet been discovered.
Okay.
So I remained alone in my pew with by myself because
you weren't Catholic.
Because I was not Catholic, and I was told I could not come forward. I could pray
for communion
in my pew while everybody went up for communion.
Yeah,
so I just literally watched all my friends, my cousins, while I sat in this pew.
Okay.
And so this is like 2 years into school. So I decide I really don't get it because I go to my church and everybody there, they say, if you believe it, hey, just come on up.
Right.
Hey, all are welcome at the table. Sure. So I made an appointment with our principal, and I've blocked her name out, which is probably, I don't remember her. Anyway, so I made an appointment. Sister Rose Marie, maybe? Okay. Anyway, my mother was her secretary, and my aunt was the secretary in the office next door, and neither of them knew I had this appointment. So I show up to my mom's desk, and she's like, oh, what do you need? And I'm like, oh, I have an appointment with the principal. And she's like, no, you don't. I'm like, I do. I have a question of faith. And before she could stop me, sister came out and she's like, Kellie, come to my office. And I basically said, I don't understand. Like, why can't I partake? And basically, to the best of her knowledge, she said, it's because you're not a practicing Catholic.
Sure. Okay.
But feel free to pray in your pew. Yeah. Well, I didn't really like that answer.
Unacceptable to third grade Kellie Whitlock. Kellie McGivern.
Taking on the establishment.
Yes.
So I go back to my church, and kids could even like take communion as long as their parents okayed it, or they could wait till confirmation. So thus began my father would always say, girls can do anything, just stand up for yourself. And pardon this, but he would say, don't be a skirt girl, like back in the day. And that would not really be politically correct today, but the meaning was clear, like, hey, stand up for yourself, advocate for yourself. Yep. So I tried to petition the few non-Catholic students in my school. It did not work, but they looked at us and loved us and prayed over us, and I continued on my ways. I that same year, I think I was mad, and I was proving to the boys that girls could skip 2 bars on the monkey bars, except that our playground was on gravel, like road.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, I was almost to the end. I was relishing my victory. I missed. I came down on my elbow. I broke and dislocated. And I only knew that because I tried to get up and the pain.
Oh, ouch.
So then my dad picked me up later and after the hospital and said, maybe not be quite so zealous. I'm okay with taking on the Catholic Church, but let's not hurt our bodies.
Right.
So anyway, that's my story. 3rd grade Kellie, trying to figure out communion and God.
Okay.
And my parents have told me time and again that that's the moment they knew I would do something in my life with God.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Yep. So your dad taught you that there's nothing you couldn't do.
Right.
So you were going to take on the establishment of the Catholic Church and skip 2 rungs on the monkey bar. All in the same day?
No, probably, I don't know.
Same year?
Oh, definitely.
In the same year?
Yeah, I think maybe like a month apart. I was still grieving and mad over my...
Our Jewish friends would say that you've got chutzpah.
Oh, I like that.
You got chutzpah for doing that.
Oh, and I wasn't edgy. I'm too nice to be edgy. But yeah, definitely I like that.
Yeah, you had chutzpah.
And so there it begins. You never know when your 3rd grader will make an appointment with the principal that you know nothing about.
To take on the establishment of the Catholic Church. That's pretty awesome.
I love the Catholic Church. So
I think when we're done recording this podcast, you should call the Pope and see if you can get an audience with him. How cool would that be?
It would be cool.
Maybe you can get him on this podcast.
I would love that.
Yes. I mean, didn't he?
Dang.
He's like from Chicago.
I know.
Like
He's
we have
cool.
an American Pope.
I know.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Hey, you know.
And Cousin Grant, my dear family member, the priest.
Yeah.
You got it too. I know you do. You got chutzpah.
Chutzpah. Chutzpah.
Chutzpah. It's a family thing.
Chutzpah. Yes. Very cool.
There's my story and my confession.
Kellie in the Catholic Church. I love it. All right, so now we are heading into the heart of our topic today, and like Kellie already alluded to, I'm not sure it's like necessarily a heavy topic, but I think what has inspired this topic is really heavy. Mm-hmm. And we're recording today on September 5th in 2025, and the episode will come out in a little bit more than a week, but just over a week ago, I'm sure you all have heard about that horrible shooting that happened in Minneapolis at the Annunciation Church, mm-hmm. right, where mm-hmm. it was just a horrible, just a horrible situation. Not going to go into too many details, but there was a shooter outside of a sanctuary where a bunch of kids, part of a Catholic school, mm-hmm. were sitting in the sanctuary worshiping and praying, and lots of people lost their lives. Lots of kids lost their lives, lots of children, lots of people hurt. And once again, we're in this place where the phraseology of thoughts and prayers, mm-hmm. It always seems like when these big tragedies occur, we hear a lot about so-and-so will be in my thoughts and prayers. And it's not even just with big tragedies. I think we tend to say that frequently, right? Mm-hmm. To anybody that comes across our way that shares something going on with mm-hmm. them that's hard or difficult, and like, oh, you'll be in my thoughts and prayers. Mm-hmm.
Write it in cards.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And so I think you and I, Kellie, were just kind of wrestling with the idea that why has this taken on such a negative connotation? Why has this phrase kind of separated people on the right and the left? Mm-hmm. And it's frustrating. So I think I'm kind of hoping that through our conversation today, we can redeem the phrase mm-hmm. and maybe dive into it a little bit deeper as far as what's up with it, why some people struggle with mm-hmm. just saying thoughts and prayers, and maybe also giving some ideas as to other things that we can do besides just simply saying thoughts mm-hmm. and prayers. Mm-hmm. But as Christians, mm-hmm. you and I, Kellie, we fully believe in the power of prayer. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where we're heading today.
I would say too, it does make you think about all the times you've said or written thoughts and prayers. It does kind of make you ask the question, motivation. But in our church world, we're called to think and care for others. Yes. When we were constantly accepting prayer requests and following up with people. And that's where thoughts and prayers, I have a really hard time separating out saying thoughts and prayers and action. Because I'm not just like, people will text us or call us the church office and say, hey, would you put me on the prayer list? And they don't treat it like a light thing. And they know that we're committed to not only thinking and praying for them, but our prayer team follows up with everyone they pray for. There's action behind that request. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So once again, because of this horrific tragedy, this phrase has come back to the forefront. So we need to look at the different things that are kind of driving the issue. I can't even believe that this is an issue, but it is an issue, and it's frustrating. So there's all sorts of criticism. So my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kellie, or any of our listeners contact us, let me know if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that there's pushback. So where the division is in this. So I guess we're going to get political just for a hot second. Mm-hmm. So my understanding is that, exactly. Mm-hmm. So the phrase thoughts and prayers is highly criticized by our brothers and sisters who identify more liberal mm-hmm. and on the left side of the spectrum, mm-hmm. because they feel that it's that it's passive, mm-hmm. that we need to be done with just simply saying thoughts and prayers, and that action needs to mm-hmm. accompany it. So, and especially because our liberal brothers and sisters, they, very much for gun legislation and that sort of thing. Totally understandable, especially when stuff like this comes along, and then because our brothers and sisters who sit on the more conservative side of things, on the right side, are all about the right to bear arms and that sort of thing. So if you happen to identify as either Republican or conservative or on the right side, then and if you say you're in my thoughts and prayers, then suddenly you're being attacked because it's like, well, what about legislation and why aren't we being more aggressive and this kind of stuff. So that's why as Christians, we want to redeem this phrase and talk more about the fact that it's still okay to say it, and it shouldn't have to necessarily identify us on one side or the other.
Well, and I would add this. So Jesus is always going for the heart. So what is the heart behind when you say you're in my thoughts and prayers? So that would be the question for Jesus. Right. Are you just saying it because that's what you say? Right. Or are you saying with deep conviction, like, absolutely, like, I am praying for you. Right. I'm willing to walk this journey with you, and to also be at your door, be on your phone, encourage you, bring food, encourage policy reform, all of that. I mean, just to put those two things together, because I think faith without action is missing. Right. It's lacking. Right. And really, it all comes down to love. If you're really going to love your neighbor, you're going to think about them, you're going to pray for them, and you're going to serve them. Right. That's would be the call to following Jesus. Right. And we also know that the whole gun control legislation thing too is it's messy and it's difficult and it's so in the muck and mire. There's just so many details surrounding it, and it's hard. So if I were to say, hey, I want to do something about that, I'm gonna be praying, and I've been praying for the folks at Annunciation Church. But if I were to step in and try and do something, honestly, I don't know where to begin. I don't know necessarily where to start, I guess starting with how do I feel about like gun control and that sort of thing. So as far as putting my thoughts and prayers into action, I don't know. I don't know where to go. Like, do I call a senator or a congressman or, Sure. I don't know. It's just and I think it's hard. And I think a lot of times when we look at something, especially like gun control, it's so huge that little old me sitting here in Livonia, Michigan, does my voice matter if I'm trying to do something about it? Well, I think there's the communal call, right? Okay. Your voice does matter along with everybody else's voice, and together we can cause reform. I mean, we can be the backbone of that. And I would say, you go back to your immediate community, your family, your church, your city, and you start there. Like, and you can make an appointment. Any citizen can make an appointment. I did that once. I had this idea for the mayor, and I looked online, and they said, sure, you can call up. You're a citizen of your city. And I just literally called a line, and I got an appointment with the mayor for 20 minutes. And that's how we actually got started with everything and our actions in the city. So, and I think that's the best way to go. And no matter also, obviously, online, you can look online for how you do that. But there are many in political office, even local office, who do a lot of reform on particular issues. Yeah, that's true. And their expertise, quote unquote, is out there. Right. They're sharing what they've done and how they've been involved in reform. So So I would do that. And it's just. Romans 12:12, Jesus calls us to be in the world, but not of the world. And so we have a place in this world. Right. And we also go together. We're not alone. So that's really important too. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So
Kellie, if you're willing, maybe kind of walk through some of these, just looking at some of the notes that we put together, and you pulled a few things out as far as like the things driving this different debate, and would you be willing to just kind of
absolutely
piece through that for us?
Absolutely. So, Kate kind of explained there are two sides to this issue. And I just like this little part, like how can I try to summarize these two sides? And so in my notes, I put this heated debate surrounding thoughts and prayers reflects this deep frustration with repeated cycles of trauma.
Yeah.
So Kate offered the prayer last week, and she prayed for this whole situation. And what I really appreciated it wasn't like, okay, and God bless Edna and her hip replacement, and so-and-so was born, and so-and-so passed away.
Right.
You gave time in your prayer. You covered everybody in this prayer. And what I really remember is sometimes when we see these traumas happen over and over again, we become numb, and you address that right in your prayer. Like, may we never get numb. May all these lives have stories and names and people and families, and I think too, there's where church community and prayer can be helpful. Sometimes we don't have the words, and I thought it was such a real prayer. It was done. Your words were intentional, and I really appreciated everything from a malaise, which is the one side of the debate, to we're going to hold you in our thoughts and prayers, and here's what we're doing.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, when I wrote that prayer, and Kellie's referring to the prayer that I said in like our communal prayer in worship the Sunday after the shooting, and honestly, I wrote that prayer from a place of being really discouraged.
Yeah.
Being really discouraged with God, and in that place of just wrestling with, why do we have to keep saying these prayers?
Right.
Why does this have to keep happening?
I think you even said that.
And I think I had like a litany of just, God, we're weary of crying to you about this.
Right.
And especially, all these things are heinous, and it's horrible, just the shootings and whatever, but especially an attack on a kid's worshiping and praying in a church. And honestly, I mean, when I first learned the news, it just crushed me, and I really just was like, God, what is going on? Why do you keep allowing this to happen? I mean, so I think that's another part of our discussion today is just also recognizing the fact that I would imagine that many, many, many of us, I mean, I think I'm pretty solid in my faith. I like to think I am, but I'm still struggling with this.
Well, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it hits you on every level. We spent some time looking up scripture and trying to figure out where God is when all this happens, and recently preached a sermon on forgiveness where I had to kind of ask some of these tough questions myself.
Right.
And that is a different topic than the one we're covering today, but I think Kate worded it like, what's the elephant in the room? Where is God when these things happen? And first of all, wrestling with God and God's seemingly absent presence on a day like that shooting is natural, and I think it's encouraged in Scripture. I just think if we don't wrestle with God, then we're not engaged. We're not trying to seek a deeper understanding. And certainly everything that Jesus did, he didn't shame anyone for expressing doubts or anything like that. And I also think this is where, to me, Jesus comes into play. Okay. So my love of Bette Midler, but my adversity against the song From a Distance, that makes me
From
cringe.
A distance,
every time I hear it sung to me.
The world looks blue and green, even though we are at war.
Good Lord.
We needed a little levity.
We did. So,
She's great.
She is great. I just don't like the lyrics to the song, but I'm going to hold my own. So here's my little summary of maybe the response to, why is God absent? And according to Scripture, according to the Bible, God is not absent. God may be silent. And then we interpret silence as God isn't present. And that just brings up, a lot of churches celebrate Holy Saturday between Good Friday and the resurrection, and God was silent on Saturday.
Right.
So we're kind of left at the cross and what happened, and maybe he was who he said he wasn't. And God decided not to speak on Saturday until the resurrection on Sunday.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that, and I understand that, but I guess I still struggle, and I know you do too.
Yeah,
struggle
absolutely.
With the fact that, okay, be silent. That's fine, but don't be silent when little kids are about to get shot.
Yeah,
that's where I just really, and I put a little comment in our notes here that I know that there are probably a bazillion times that God has intervened, and we're just not going to know.
Yes,
we will never. On this side of heaven, we are not going to know about all the times that God has acted in miraculous ways, but it still begs the question. It's still hard for us, right? To be like, okay, be silent about some stuff, but why are you silent when these little kids are about to get shot? So, and it's okay to voice that. I think Kellie already said that. You already said that, Kellie, that it's okay to voice that frustration and that.
Yeah, and the truth is, it's absolutely heartbreaking.
Can we sing Bet again?
It's absolutely heartbreaking.
Yes.
And what it does is it's supposed to be, instead of maybe what's viewed as passive, as saying, I'm going to think about these families, I'm going to be praying for these families that have had injured in death, which to me is true. It also means I'm going to continue to seek ways that this doesn't happen, whether it's writing a letter, whether it's preaching about the role of the church and pastors is, where is God in the midst of it? And my response is, God is everywhere.
Yes.
Our issue is free will. So if you're getting into, we go off.
That's a fun theological topic. Yeah.
So why on earth Jesus chose to make us partners in building up the kingdom and not just like making the kingdom happen now?
Right.
Because it turns out we're not supposed to be God's puppets. We have free will, and Jesus calls us. So the question is, like, why doesn't God do something? The response is, well, I sent Jesus to enter into your suffering on the cross. Jesus knows what it's like to suffer. God knows what it's like to lose a son. Mm-hmm. So there's the pastoral response.
And Jesus also knows what it's like to feel God's absence.
Yes.
So in the Garden of Gethsemane, on the cross. Mm-hmm. My God, why have you forsaken me?
Right.
Where are you right now?
Right. And even in the garden, if it's at all possible, take it from me.
Yeah.
So if the Messiah prays a prayer, like, if it's all possible, I really don't want to do this.
Right.
But your will, not my will, be done.
Right.
Certainly our Messiah promises to be with us, and he gets credit because he suffers like we suffer. And then God's doing something through us. Those who say we follow Jesus are supposed to be the hands and feet of Jesus.
Right.
So it's not just praying and thinking, but action combining. We've had some situations in the city of Livonia, tragic deaths of children, and the whole city tries to show up. We show up.
Right.
It's not just having a worship service and praying. It is that.
Right.
And the community joins
Correct.
together, and we pray together, and we offer God's comfort. But it's also, we all join together. So it was very interesting. And, political climates, it all just stepped aside while we helped this family in great need. And we continue to do that. Yep. So then the question becomes, all right, if I say I follow Jesus, I got to pray.
Right.
And I got to do a call to action every day. Right.
And Jesus did the same. He modeled that, right? So he had a prayer life, and he was also all about action and doing,
right,
and that sort of thing.
I think too the Lord's Prayer. I'm really rediscovering the Lord's Prayer. So this makes me think of, we're praying, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And it's that whole place where we're trying to, as followers of Jesus, if you say you follow Jesus, we're supposed to be praying and working for God's kingdom to actually come on earth as it is in heaven. So the closer we get to that, the less strife, the less heartache. I mean, and it's really about individually too. Where is your commitment? What is your passion? Is your passion a specific group? Is your passion, hospice work? What is your passion? What is God calling you to do? And whatever that is, and whatever gifts you've been given, those do make a difference.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I wonder, I'm just playing around in my head too, if maybe the more that these things occur, other things that we can do is just be present to others simply when we are in public, or be as mindful as we can, or present to other people that may be expressing or showing signs of deep mental health issues or whatever, that maybe we need to find a way to be brave and to not ignore, especially within our own loved ones, people that we know the best, or people that we know kind of well and are just exhibiting certain signs, because of course the other argument is the mental health aspect, of course,
and what it does to people,
and and clearly more often than not that is a part of these giant tragedies. Is the perpetrator often is suffering from some sort of mental health thing. So again, it all gets really, really messy, but I like to think that if ever confronted with something, I would be brave to be able to step in and intervene, whether it's, a loved one that I think needs a little extra attention or help, or if I'm in public and something doesn't look right, feel right, seem right.
It's also interesting because the churches face some opposition about, in the old days, the church was always open. Doors always open. Come on in.
Right.
And we live in a culture where we've had to put alarms on our building, and we have alarms at every desk in case someone would even come in and you need, 911 assistance. And the whole church, did active shooter training. So we had to actually pretend that an active shooter was in the sanctuary. You have little kids in there. Whoo. That's, I would have never imagined that 30 years ago.
Yeah. And there was a church shooting a few miles down the road from us.
There was.
Earlier this summer.
Yeah.
And it just feels so prevalent. So I guess the more we say these things, I guess that's where we start to feel like, okay, our prayers aren't getting answered. Like what's going on? Again, back to that the question, is God absent in all of this? Because it just feels like it's too much.
It does.
Too much.
And that's the pastoral. That's the heavy-hearted. And we should be heavy-hearted. If we continue to grow numb, nothing will happen. No change will take place. But what's Habitat's motto? Be the change? Something along that line. Don't just talk about change, be the change.
Or did Gandhi say, be the change that you want to see in the world?
Yeah. Like nothing's going to get better if you do nothing. And that's the passivity, right? So, and I think, again, we're called to be in the world, but not of the world. So we're supposed to be out in the world, making a difference.
Right. Yep. And I guess also going back to the whole, the gun issue, because it does feel like violent crimes all over the place feel like they're on the rise, and I wonder, really, maybe we should have looked up some statistics about this, if it just feels that way because we're so connected to so many news sources all over the world, but there's also that sense, and I've honestly thought about this myself, being single and living alone, and it's like, do I want to arm myself?
Right.
I like the idea that I have the right to do so.
Yeah. Yes.
But I also don't like the idea that sometimes the right to do so puts a weapon in the hands of someone that shouldn't have a weapon. And again, it's all just really, really messy, and all these things that we struggle with.
Yes.
But ultimately, going back to the idea of like, well, how powerful are our prayers? Are they really? Do they mean anything?
According to Jesus, they do.
They do. I know. But in our human nature, we want to see results, right? I mean, we want to see results. It's like we've been praying so much as a congregation with these things that we hear about, and then it's like, well, another one happens. It's like,
right.
You know, did we not pray properly? Did we not pray well enough? Like, what's up, God?
Right.
You know.
Right. I will tell you. So I have a unique kid, and she's had cancer twice. Yeah. She was born with cancer. I didn't even know that was possible.
Right.
And sick. Oh my goodness. 3 months pretty much in the hospital, and things I never thought I'd see or experience. And then open heart surgery when it left, and it actually just left. It was connected to Down syndrome.
Right.
And so that it left by 3 months. At 6 months, she had open heart surgery, the old-fashioned way. 1 year later, and 20% of the Down syndrome kids that have it, you get it back, and she got it back full AML. So a year in the hospital. And I got to tell you, when you live in a children's ward on a cancer floor, you know what bells go off, you know what the sounds are, and no one wants to hear or see the light. Right. That means that a child is in peril, and people are running down a hallway doing life support measures, and it's a different life, you know. Like you're sitting in like we had a sitter come, a church sitter, you know who you are, just watching her for an hour so I could go next door and try to write a sermon or something. And she's like, you have to come into the room right now. And I walk in, and there's a pool of blood just because the IV disconnected. And I'm like, oh, it's all good. You just got to hook it back up. And she's like,
right.
And I'm like, oh, my God, how quickly you adapt. But I will say I've done those prayers. Like, I don't understand. She's totally innocent.
Yeah.
You know, I don't understand. But I guess... No, I know that when I prayed those prayers, God heard every single one of my prayers. Yeah. I believe that. And and I can say, well, Down syndrome has a genetic marker, and genetic markers, blah, blah, blah. But what it did...
It's putting the logic behind it.
It is. And there's really... The heartbreak is what dominates.
Right.
My father sent a shawl, and it was really large, and we were like, I think she was like 8 weeks old, and he sent a shawl and said, hey, I want you to put this around you and Michaela so that you know your mother and I are with you. And there's just something about that. Yeah. Church, meals on my table, you know, I can't, the 2 older kids were carted everywhere so their lives could continue. Yeah. I mean, I think, and in my head, Jesus showed up. Right. By showing me nurses, doctors, the community that helped me through that.
Yeah, those are your pockets of joy.
They are. That's it. Yeah. That, and I watched a crazy TV show. I watched all 9 seasons of some crazy Australian show called McLeod's Daughters. Okay. I know everything about that show.
Long before there was streaming.
Exactly. Yeah. It was like a portable DVD player.
Yeah, right.
That I borrowed when one kid wasn't with me, one older kid wasn't with me. But here's the deal. I think when we can go along with life, we don't have to think about church shootings, and we can just do our thing, and we can have blinders on. And I don't believe Jesus calls us to be that way. Right. It's intentional living.
That's very true.
You know, right? When we say we pray, we better as well mean it. We've made a commitment to somebody to pray. Right. And a lot of times praying changes us. Yeah. Yeah, right? So it shapes us. So of course. But you know what? There's just heartache and pain. There's wallow. There's why me. There's the Psalms are full of that, right? Yeah. How long, oh God? And Isaiah, just so many scriptures. And here's the best part. I think just Jesus meets us where we are.
Yeah, that is very true. Yep. And like I just said, just want to kind of reiterate this again, that Jesus meets us in those pockets of joy, just as a reminder that it's going to be okay, and there's still a lot of goodness in the world,
Right.
But we hear, I mean, if you're out there struggling like we are, you know, we hear you. We're with you, and we get it. You know, so I'm in the process of putting together a sermon for this particular topic. And for some reason, the scripture passage of the blind beggar who's sitting on the side of the road, a throng of people is coming through because Jesus is there. So you can just imagine that it's just this cacophony and, you know, the sounds of feet on the road and sounds of talking and probably shouting and whatever. And this blind beggar hears that Jesus is coming, and he believes that Jesus has the power to heal him. So he starts yelling, you know, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. And no response. So he just keeps yelling even more. And I think the scriptures say that his disciples come over and like basically tell the guy to shut up. In which case the guy just kept shouting all the more until he got Jesus's attention. And in so doing, Jesus stopped and came over and said, well, what do you want? He was like, I want you to heal me. I'm like, all right, here you go. Here's your healing. So I kind of relate that very much to this idea of thoughts and prayers, and just that we have to be insistent. And I guess this is where maybe I'm preaching to myself at the moment, where I need to find my own hope in this situation, that to be insistent in asking for the healing. So being insistent in my prayers, being insistent in my actions, that I know that I have to believe that Jesus is going to hear, and that the healing will come. But in the meantime, you got these other voices that are telling you, be quiet, just you know,
give up. What can you do?
Give up. It's the issue is too big.
Yeah.
Or you know, just whatever. So I kind of really like that illustration of, I think the blind beggar is kind of my new hero now.
Yeah, I know.
in many instances.
And no doubt he was on the ground, right? So
yeah, probably.
I mean, just again, there's Jesus removes himself from the crowd. The whole crowd's still standing there, but he attends to the individual.
Yep.
You know, and I just my first thought when I hear about such tragedies, and honestly, when we get called out with police and fire and see tragedy, is you know, this overwhelming feeling of compassion and heartache.
Yeah.
And then to watch firefighters and police do incredible things to save lives, to, like, they don't stop. Like, you know, they don't stop. They just keep going, call after call after call after call after call.
Yeah, and talk about a group of people that could just like throw up their hands and say,
yes,
forget it. Yeah. Like, this is just pointless, because these things are still going to keep happening. Even no matter how many lives that I save or how many incidences I get to intervene in to protect others, it's still happening, and it's got to be overwhelming for them after a while to just be like, well, am I doing any good? And I think, so that's a thank you for that illustration, Kelly. Because I think it speaks to us too, you know, that it's, as far as our prayer life goes, you know, you got plenty of people out there that are still doing their thing day after day after day, and they're not going to give up. So we need to not give up in our prayers either.
Well, and that's what causes apathy, and then nothing will be done. Well, I'll just be the victim of circumstance, and that is on the wrong side of things. You know, we don't want to let just things happen to us and freeze, or to get caught in debate, and then we somehow miss the people that need our care in the debate, and that gets tricky as well.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, where we get so caught up in our own agenda that we forget the people around us that just need a little time and attention.
Right.
Where we think we're doing good because we're so caught up in our agenda, yet we, you know, miss the forest for the trees kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I wrote down prayer may not always change the circumstance, but it changes how we see them, gives us strength, clarity, and hope. So the minute we become hopeless it's just, then we're really just the victim of circumstance.
Yeah.
So, it's what does prayer do? It encourages, sustains, comforts. It does all those things.
Amen.
If I don't know what to do, I pray.
Yep.
Because at first you're in shock and you're trying to assimilate reality from this can't be happening to what do I do? And, I think about the prayers I wrote in seminary that I got graded on.
Oh my gosh.
Right? It was to this,
Goodness
it was to that. What is your real theology of heaven and
Goodness
hell?
gracious.
And man, I think some of my best prayers are in moments of chaos.
Yes.
Whether I'm with somebody or somebody, I don't know. And it could also be like, oh, geez, I'm just like tired out. Where you're just like fed up with yourself, right?
Yeah, sure.
I did something today at social media about putting yourself in timeout because frankly, sometimes you just need to do that. It's not you're spinning your wheels, man. You're just go to timeout for a minute. Grown-up timeout. Do it. Yes. But so I would just say I think it would only be natural if I'm thinking about me, if that was my child who died in that pew and a bunch of people just kind of, the impression is when someone says, hey, you're going to be in my thoughts and prayers, it's like, it sounds hollow. Well, I think you wrote it's a substitute for action. We view it like, oh, great, so you're going to pray for me.
That's where the criticism comes, is that it's a substitute for action. That's where people are criticizing the phraseology.
Right.
When we want to redeem that, because it's not a substitute. It's not a substitute.
No.
It's an and.
And yes,
it's an and. Mm-hmm. So prayers and action, and whatever that looks like for you, whatever is meaningful, and whatever that means.
Right.
So
I think too, I just to challenge clergy. Now that I started with the Catholic story, it's like. What's the old? There's a special reading that the belated Bob Seymour, and he did it all the time till we were like
dearly departed.
Yeah. And it drove us crazy because he was always like, I'd rather see a sermon instead of hear a sermon.
Right.
And he said it over and over and over. We're like, ugh,
Yep.
And now, man,
preach the gospel, and once in a while use words. And that's that is attributed to somebody famous.
Yes. And he loved that.
Augustine, maybe.
Yeah.
Or Walter Brueggemann, or yes, and he used that frequently.
But here's what I missed. I heard it so much it became empty to me. But here's what I missed.
Very good point.
When he passed away, I had to go into his employee folder, and he had given us a folder when he interviewed with and in the folder he taped that, the use words, if necessary, use words.
Right.
And I didn't realize that was his way to call himself to action every day when he woke up. Yeah. And I missed it. I just thought, okay, great illustration.
Right,
We've heard it 500 times. And I'm like, he was trying to teach me something, and it went over my head. That was his call to action. So perhaps as clergy, when people look to us for these big questions of where God is, the basic call to action is not to ignore, but to preach and to pray and to teach and to show up and to love.
Right.
And
well, maybe that's the perfect example for the phrase thoughts and prayers, even though we hear it so much, and maybe it is just going over our heads when really it's like, hey, everybody, pray about these people, pray about these situations, keep them in your thoughts so that you don't forget what happened here, so that, again, down the line, you can figure out how to do something about it. So it's important. I think it's important to redeem that phrase. And it's okay.
And just a closing thought on my end, when I became head of staff here at Rosedale, we have an officers retreat, and we used a book by Thomas Rainer. He's got some good stuff out there on everything from the top 10 reasons for a healthy church. Although this book title was, what is it?
Autopsy of a Deceased Church.
How Not to Be One. And oh my gosh. And what it did for me, though, is it laid out 10 areas. And basically what it said was, as if this was supposed to be not shocking to me, it doesn't matter how many resources you have, how many people you have, the size of your church or your budget. If you are not a praying congregation, right, the rest just falls apart. So basically, if you're not being and doing, praying and action, the whole ministry is going to fall apart. So, so we decided, the prayer group has met forever here, years and years, on Wednesday morning, and we decided back then that we would send out an email blast every Wednesday to the congregation. You can open the email up anytime you want, and it gives the current most folks who have asked for prayers. Yep. And the prayer group used to have about 5 or 6 pages. They got like 12, 15 single space pages. People call in because they have felt the presence of Jesus when they've asked this group to pray. Yep. And it's single space lines for pages and pages, and they literally know each name and each story, and they follow up. And boy, if that isn't a call to action, I don't know.
And if our small little prayer group knows each person and each situation, just imagine what God knows.
Oh, there you go.
And how involved he is. Yeah, so don't give up, friends. Find those pockets of joy. Keep praying. Figure out for yourself what it is to put your prayers into action, and know that God's right there with us all the time. And we're all frustrated. Yeah, we're all hurting. But this is where the rubber meets the road with our faith, right? That we still put all this into God's hands and just trust, and that we do have the opportunity as well to come alongside and do what we can. Again, whatever that looks like for each and every one of us.
You kind of made a little list, pair it with tangible help.
Yeah. So again, whatever that means for you. So whether it's in donations, you can give money to some sort of advocacy group. You can be a part of advocacy. Show up to things. And then, like I mentioned before, show up in people's lives and be present. Be present to other people. Be present in public. Be aware. Know your surroundings and circumstances, and look for those places that you can spread a pocket of joy yourself. So, and also, I also put on the list that when you say to someone, instead of just saying to someone, and this is on a smaller scale, this is not on these grand, horrible national tragedies, but on the smaller scale, instead of simply saying to someone in your world, I'll keep you in my thoughts and prayers, be specific in your wording. Like, Kellie, I'm going to continue praying for you and your situation with your parents, or so-and-so, I'm going to, continue to pray for you on your job search, instead of just saying, I'll keep you in my thoughts and prayers. If you're comfortable enough, pray for that person right then and there. Right. Just go ahead and pray for them.
You can even ask them, what can I be praying for you right now?
Yes. Yep. And of course, follow up. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge thing too. Follow up with people that, especially if they have taken the time to share with you some struggle that they're going through, or what they're going through. I try and say this at the end of any funeral I do. Please follow up with this family. Follow up with these folks who are grieving, because I learned in my own experience of walking through grief that it's like the week of is the easy part. The week of your own going through visitation and the funeral of a loved one, and you're surrounded by people, and then all of a sudden everybody just goes away. Yeah. But your grief and your hurt and your heartache haven't gone away. So when you know that, show up. And follow up with people. Just keep following up and checking in. I learned a great thing. My dear friend Shannon, she started doing this with me years ago, and I've stolen it from her. She just simply, every once in a while, I get a text from her that just simply says, checking on you. And I might not even have really anything going on in my world, you know, but just to it's just her way of saying, checking on you. So I've stolen that, and I do that too with people. And just if they pop into my head, just checking on you. Yeah. All right. Well, I get the joy of sharing the blessing to close out this episode with you all today. And as you, if you've been listening to us for all these 15 episodes, you probably know that I love to use music and songs, and lyrics are often my go-to. And so today I have turned to the song called "Don't Stop Praying" by Matthew West. And there's going to be a link to his music video in our show notes. So check that out. But I'm just going to, I'll save you from singing it, but I'm going to read to you the lyrics. And this is just a portion of his song. And this is what it is. And it starts out, "What's your impossible? Your I need a miracle. What's got you barely hanging on by a single thread? What looks so hopeless now? What weighs down your heart with doubt? You beg for a breakthrough, but no sign of breaking through yet. When you've cried and you've cried till your tears run dry, the answer won't come and you don't know why. And you wonder if you can bow your head even one more time. Don't stop praying. Don't stop calling on Jesus' name. Keep pounding on heaven's door." I love that. I love that visual. Keep pounding on heaven's door and let your knees wear out the floor. Don't stop believing, because mountains move with just a little faith, and your Father's heard every word you're saying. So don't stop praying. He's close to the brokenhearted and saved those who are crushed in spirit. The Alpha and Omega knows how your story ends. When you've cried and you've cried so your tears run dry, the answer won't come and you don't know why. And if you wonder if you can bow your head even one more time, do it one more time. And don't stop praying. Don't stop calling on Jesus' name. Keep on pounding on heaven's door. Let your knees wear out the floor. I just think it's a really powerful song. So please take a moment and click on the link and check it out. So don't stop praying, friends. And let's redeem that phraseology. Let's put that phrase into action. And but let's also not let it be minimized either, because prayer is powerful. Prayer changes things. Prayer changes us. So thank you for joining us on Off the Rails again today. So if this episode challenged you, or if you found it helpful or inspiring, we really do ask that you share it with a friend. Please like and subscribe to all of our social media channels. Give us a rating. That would be really, really helpful if you could give us a rating. We'd love to hear from you. Please send us a message, drop us a DM, send us an email.
Send us a topic.
Stuff. Send us a topic idea. Yeah, it's been a minute since we've asked for some topic ideas. But just remember that prayer is powerful, and then when it's joined with action. It reflects Christ's work in the world.
There you go. That's a great statement.
Wonderful. So again, thank you. We're really grateful for your time, and pray that you be blessed today.
All right. Bye, everybody.